So, are eBay racing seats worth it? Now, that totally depends on a lot of things, but what I'm going to show you is my personal experiences that I've had with my Vision Technology suede racing / bucket seats that I got for like a little under $250 off of eBay, plus some low mountain brackets so that I could actually sit in them. Because information you might want to know, I am about 6'4", 6'5", and I weigh like 225 pounds. So, if I can fit in these seats, most people probably can fit in these seats. That's the first thing you need to know. As far as quality goes, for these seats themselves, I haven't really had any issues with quality. The only really annoying thing that there has been that I've had problems with when it comes to these seats is that this seat squeaks, which I can't probably really recreate it. It just does it at random times, which is not that big of a deal. It just gets a little bit annoying, / I'm sure if you were on a long road trip, you'd really start to get sick of it. But for the most part, the quality of these seats for the price is actually really good. I know I probably should have cleaned out my car for doing this type of video, but I did not. So, as you can see, they're not like ridiculously rigid, but they're really not bad. Obviously, if you're going for seats this cheap, you're probably not really super worried about safety per se, because I mean, these seats aren't going to protect you anymore. In fact, they probably will less than your standard seat that you would have in your car. It's a bit hard to tell in this lighting, but this is actually fairly good quality suede. I'm not sure if it's real suede. It probably isn't, but it's actually really nice and soft. I know you can't see that, but in comparison to like this suede shift boot, this is not nearly as soft. This is like that rougher kind of suede, not exactly what you'd expect. And the stitching really isn't too bad. None of it has come undone or anything. They've all held up pretty well over the 7 months that I've had them. Everything is still in good shape. One thing I can say is, like I had said before, I am like 6'4", 6'5", 225 pounds. I do not fit in most racing seats, at least not comfortably. Even the seats in my buddy's Ford Focus ST that he used to have, they really weren't comfortable thigh-wise, and the torso support was still a little bit tight for me. And that's factory racing seats. Those were, I think, Recaros. These, at least the driver's seat that I have here, is not too bad. The torso support is like a little bit tight as I first get in, and then it's really not that bad. You get used to it. The shoulder support is really good. It's fantastic, I have to say. And thigh support is not bad either. This seat fits really well. However, you have to ask the question about quality control, because then when you go over to this seat, this seat, also very dirty, I apologize about, is much narrower. In fact, you can probably see just by looking at it how these bolsters, they're sticking out more, whereas compared to these, which are not quite as much. Now, part of that could be down to these wearing into me sitting in them for a while, but even when I got them brand new, this seat is much tighter. This is not a comfortable seat for me to sit in at all on the passenger side. This one is not too bad. You can also see that this seat, this is a lot more solid and a lot more rigid, these torso bolsters, than these are. And again, that is partially down to wear, but even when they were new, the difference between them was a decent amount. So if you're going to buy a set of racing seats and they're still quite a bit different from each other, then that kind of goes to show the poor quality control. Again, the stitching and everything on these is actually really nice. I mean, you wouldn't guess that they were super cheap seats. You can see up here a little bit. You can see a little bit of that has come undone. It's really not that difficult to fix. There was also one string down here, somewhere along here, that I had to cut. I don't think it's really there anymore. I think I cut it pretty short. But that is something that you're going to have to expect buying $250 seats or $300 seats instead of, you know, like $400 up to $1,500, $2,000 seats. Both of these do appear to be fairly good quality, but like I said, however, this seat is much more comfortable for me to sit in. It's not like I can't sit in this one, but I wouldn't want to for a very long period of time. So when other people are driving my car, it's not very comfortable, and it doesn't help that you can see this bolster has been pushed in slightly in comparison to this one. That is because the door actually shuts against this. Most of that is just down to how far over the seat is set on the bracket, so that could be moved over to fix that. But it's another thing you've got to kind of keep in mind, because this is only a 2-seat car. Obviously it's a 350Z. Even being that case, there's still a little bit of fitment issues trying to fit these. So this seat is much tighter, and when I say much tighter, I mean that I'm barely fitting in these bolsters at all. In fact, I'm practically just sitting on them, whereas over there, that seat is fairly comfortable. So there is quite a significant difference between these two. I'd say these bolsters on here are probably 2.5 inches closer to each other than those are, which doesn't sound like a huge deal, but sitting in them, you can definitely tell the difference. I even have some friends that are skinnier, and still these seats are a little bit tight on them, so I don't really know who would really be comfortable in seats like this. When I shut this door, it is pretty much against me, and by pretty much I mean my arm is against the door as I'm holding the camera right now. So the thing is, this is kind of something you'd have to come to expect. Like I said, these seats are they're not bad quality, but the quality control in the size of them between even these two, which came in a set, is not that good, which kind of goes to show, which it should be somewhat obvious, if you are going to be paying a cheaper price for the seats and you're not willing to pay for more expensive seats, and this is kind of the same with pretty much any part that you get for cheap off of eBay or wherever, do be prepared that there might be quality control and there might be fitment issues. It's just the way that it is. There's reasons that those parts are expensive, and it's because there's been, you know, like months of research that's been put into making those parts fit for a certain car, or making those parts the best quality they can be. I mean, you can argue that there's brand name in there, and that's another reason that parts may be more expensive. That's absolutely true. But even brands that make parts for the 350Z, like Motordyne, it's not like they're a huge well-known brand, but their products are really expensive, and that's because they're genuinely good products. There's been, you know, like months or even years of research and development that's gone into making those products as good as they can make them. You cannot say the same for these seats. These are just replica seats of, you know, like Mugen style or Recaro style seats that they make for as cheap as they can and sell cheaper than other people so that people will buy them. It's the same thing with the replica body kit argument. It's like, yeah, of course the replica kits are less good quality, obviously, but if they're cheaper by even a small margin, there's always going to be people that are going to go for that, because people are cheap, and I understand. I have these seats as well. So all in all, I'd say if you're looking at eBay seats, I'd say if you are looking at cheap seats that you'd find on eBay or something like that, are they worth it? Again, it totally depends what you want. If you just want seats that are nicer than your stock seats, especially if you're putting them in something that's like older, from like the 80s or 90s, that's gonna have crap seats from the factory, sure, they're absolutely worth it, but do keep in mind that they're not made up to the same standard as the more expensive seats, and it could be that you'll actually be replacing these seats more often, and then eventually you'll be at the same price after a set of, you know, like 2 or 3 seats as you would have been in the first place, just going up for the big boys. Anyway guys, if you did enjoy this video and you found this information helpful, or if you agree with what I'm saying, please make sure to leave a like, rate, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not already for more car content and more videos of this type. I do appreciate absolutely every single one of you that chooses to click on the video and chooses to watch the content that I make. You mean a lot to me. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys later.